Hi, I'm Julie Oman. I'm the Director of Community Ed, and I'd like to welcome you to our event this evening. I'm so pleased to see so many of you here. Community Ed has been in our district, as you know, for 40 years, and that's quite a feat. And so we're just here to celebrate, and we're always trying to get better. We're always getting louder. And, we're always trying to do new things. So if you have ideas, even tonight, or anytime, shoot us an email, talk to us tonight, call me. We're looking for ways. Our goal is to meet the lifelong learning needs of our community, and so that is what we try hard to do every day. So I'd like to just hand the mic for a second to our superintendent. We're so pleased that she's here. We are really blessed to have a superintendent in our district who understands the importance of bringing along the community in the education system and all of that. Linda has been nothing but supportive, and we're so grateful. So this is Linda Matson, our superintendent.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you all for being here tonight. This certainly is an exciting year, the 40th anniversary. There are a lot of things that are planned. I know that Julie's going to talk about some of those events that are going to happen throughout the year. And as Julie said, we really value community ed in our district. We have for many, many years and continue to do so. I know that when I talk with other superintendents and other community ed directors, a lot of times we have kind of this key team at the district office that meets, that talks about various things, and community ed is part of that. Sometimes that doesn't happen in some districts, and certainly here it does. Julie is part of conversations that impact all sorts of programming within the district, and we certainly also look at the, there are many components, of course, of community ed, but we look at that E12 component, that early childhood component, that really is the start of education for our students. And it doesn't just start at kindergarten, but it starts much before that. And so Julie and staff are a key part of all of that. So you're going to have many speakers tonight. We're going to do a lot of celebrating with regard to community ed. So again, I just want to thank everyone for being here, and congratulations on 40 years. Thank you.
One thing I want to make sure I do, and I hope that I don't forget anyone here tonight. There are so many people to thank and just to bring along and to celebrate with. But we're very, very pleased. We have with us tonight, I'm going to turn this way and then you can guess if I'm talking about him. But our very first community education director 40 years ago, he was here for a long time, did a great job getting everything started, and it's Stan Peterson. Stan, could you stand up, please? We're so pleased that you could be here with us and with your son as well, so thank you. I have a PowerPoint here that I'm not going to read the slides. I'm just going to really quickly go through this, but I will tell you that after we're done with our little presentation here, we're going to set this so that it will rotate and it'll just go on. So I encourage you to watch and really see if there are some pieces about community ed that you're maybe not familiar with. So we'll just quickly go through, but as I said, it's 40 years, and I'm in the way of people, can you see? Okay. There's a little bit about our history. July 1st, 1973 was when it all began. The state of Minnesota in 1969 passed legislation about community education. Actually, if you go back further than that, in 1930, in the 30s, in Flint, Michigan, that's really where community education was born. And the idea was to open up schools and have things, people, community members, and things going on and involved, and it was called the Lighted Schoolhouse. Then we're going to talk a little bit about our programs. Adult lifelong learning, we have lots of activities that we do and people who work hard to do that. ABE, Adult Basic Ed. As you can see, we had 270 students who were served last year. I know we have a number of our wonderful volunteers. ABE, as well as many things in community ed, would not function the way that they do if we didn't have many, many dedicated volunteers who serve the needs of the community that are coming in, and so I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then you can see, of course, aquatics. Sue, our welcome committee back there, has been in our aquatics program for a long time, and I will tell you that if you talk to Sue, she will say to you or to anyone who will listen to get the message of it, that everyone who lives in our area needs to know how to swim, because we live where you're immersed in lakes. You can't be here without having activities with water. So thank you for all of that, Sue. LINK is our Adults with Disabilities program, and we serve we serve youth in that program. Monday nights is the typical night that we do that. Christy's here, she does a lot of the work with that. And then School Age Care is our biggest program. We have over 700 children that participate in school age care. For those of you who don't have school age children, kids, when they come to school in the morning before school starts, they can come to school and they have care. They stay after school in many cases. On non-school days we have care, and during the summer, non-school days, it's a great service for our community, and I'm very grateful for the staff in SAC that works so hard to help support. You know, Linda talked about how I'm fortunate to be a part of the cabinet here in our district. That doesn't always happen with community ed, but we really see our mission in how do we support what's going on with the K-12 program. And I could take that a step further and say when we have healthy adults, we have healthy seniors, we have healthy kids, we have active, all of those things contribute to having a healthy school district and people who are happy and healthier. So school age care is a very big program that we have. Early childhood, as Linda said, you know, lots of times people refer to education as a K-12 program. We start with early childhood here. We have a number of our early childhood staff here. I'm grateful to see them, as well as some retired folks. And early childhood, really in our district, it's birth to 5. We literally have people if a mother has a baby in the hospital here, within the first day or two when they're there, we have staff members who visit them, ask, do you have questions about parenting? All sorts of resources are offered, and then all of the program that goes up until a child enters kindergarten. So that's our early childhood program. You can see that we have a 4-star parent aware rating. You may have heard about that in the news. There's been a lot of information about that. The state of Minnesota proportions some money to be used for early childhood. They've really been looking at the importance of helping kids before they get to kindergarten and helping their parents to be on board with what they need to be doing to be good parents. And so we're thrilled to have that 4-star rating, and I attribute it to the wonderful staff that we have. Driver education, our teachers who teach that course are certified teachers, so they help hold a license in perhaps history or some other subject or something in education. And then they have a driver's ed license on top of that, and so they teach our students in the district how to drive. And then, of course, youth athletics, Stephanie, I always say she's little, but she's mighty, and she's our new athletics person as of last year, and we have thousands of children who participate and many, many, many volunteer coaches, which is another place where we have a lot of volunteers. And then elementary youth enrichment. Elementary students are invited to do things where they can learn more about art, science, they can do activities, fun, learning, social, recreational, the whole gamut. And then secondary youth just takes that to the next step, and we have some students in the secondary grades that are also on our youth advisory board, and they work very closely with the Youth Service Bureau to plan activities and things, so that's part of secondary youth. And then, of course, we partner in the community. One of the things that we really hold as one of our charges is how can we bring the rest of the community along? How can we support what's going on in the community? And I'm thankful we have Renee and Aaron here from the city, and we partner a lot. I attribute that to Dr. Madsen's leadership with how does the school district work with the community, with the Chamber of Commerce, with the city, and how do we do that together to make a better community. So we're happy in community education to support a lot of things, and you see there's a list there of a lot of things that we do. The Festival of Cultures, which happens in the spring, we have a lot of students from our ABE program who support and take part in that, as well as our volunteers, and Kara's on that committee as well. So it's, I should go back one. The Children's Clothing Fund, a lot of people don't know too much about that, but it was started by people in community ed as well as in the school district well before I was involved. I was a teacher here for a long time, and I was on the other end of this program. If we have students in our community who need help getting winter clothing, then it's an organization, a nonprofit, that we work to help children get the things that they need. And the school district staff is very generous with donating to that program. So, and you see there are many other things there as well. Lake Fest is something that, Linda, is this going to be the 4th year, right? So Lake Fest, it was an activity that was born of the collaboration between the city, Renee does a lot of work with that, and also the school district, and then the Chamber of Commerce. And if you haven't ever come down for Lake Fest, you need to come down. You need to mark it on your calendar. It'll be the first, I think it's the last weekend in May is the Saturday. There'll be information all about it. It'll be in our catalog, but it's a full day on Saturday of activities. Community Ed is a lot of that, and it's really more than a whole week of activities for our community. And a great turnout, a wonderful time is had by all. And then we support community events as well. And these are just a couple of the things. There's Sue with her aquatics staff that participated in the Forest Lake Parade. We also had an athletic team, a coach and his team participate, and we actually were thrilled because we were selected as the Hometown Pride Award for our first entry there, so that was really fun. And then we also have a community education for a cure team, and work hard to raise funds and support the local community, the local Relay for Life event. And then you see that we partner with a lot of people. This is just a sampling of the different people that we partner with, but it's just a pleasure to be able to do that and to help, again, to work with our community. And then here's a list that shows some of the other people that and the things that we do together, and I won't go through and read that, but basically this is kind of how it works. Someone will call my office and say, we have an idea, we have something we want to do, we need some support, and what do you think about that? And then I call my fabulous team together and we talk about what we can do to help support that. So. And again, our volunteers, I can't say enough about it because we have dedicated, fabulous staff, and I try to say that whenever I can. The volunteers are also such an integral part of our programs, and we're so thankful. We could not do community ed the way that we do if we didn't have volunteers. So wanted to just say thank you. And then community ed is proud to have been serving the district for 40 years. And another thing I just want to point out to you, we have a number of activities that are going on this year, but this is a really special one for us. The Ranger Review is going to be a staff talent, sorry, I didn't get that word out, I keep thinking. It's a staff variety show, and I always tell people when I talk to them, they want to know what they should do. Well, I don't have a talent, I haven't played the piano for 18 years. And we said, well, it's supposed to be entertaining. This is supposed to be family-friendly entertainment, and so funny skits. Some people, we have people who are immensely talented, and we'll have some real talent too. But I keep telling staff members, you don't have to be really talented. You have to be really willing to do something that'll be fun for our community. So on April 4th and 5th, we're going to be doing that, and then the funds that we raise next year, we're going to be using for community education scholarships. Community education is about a $4 million a year budget, and about $1 million of that comes from the state and the levies to help support early childhood. So we have a sliding fee scale for early childhood, for example. And then ABE is also a program for adults that, for whatever reason, maybe they didn't finish high school, now they want to get their diploma, or maybe they want to brush up on skills. They've been out of the workforce for a while, or perhaps they're new to our country and they don't speak English and they need help with that. So we get funding for that, but the bulk of what we do in community ed is supported by user fees. And unfortunately, we have people in our community sometimes who that's really a struggle for them to participate. So we're hoping to be able to do some things with scholarships for next year. Thank you to everyone, and that ends the little PowerPoint, but we will set it up so that it will scroll around. So I have a couple people I just quickly want to call up here. On your program, if you had one on the table there, it says Becky Jacobson from our Community Education Advisory Council. But Becky is the proud aunt of a girl who plays on the Forest Lake hockey team. And the Forest Lake hockey team, the girls team, has their opener tonight. And as a dutiful aunt who loves her niece so much, she just couldn't miss that. So she was here, but she scooted out and had to get to the arena. So Jerome Krieger is actually going to, in Becky's place, he agreed to come up and just say a couple things from our advisory council.
Thank you, Julie. So it's a little impromptu for me tonight, so I'm going to shoot from the hip. But our Community Ed Council meets once a month during the school year. We have about 12 people on our council. If anybody's looking to get involved in the community a little bit more, if you talk to Lori or Julie or anybody, if we get any openings, I'd encourage you to get on there. One of the biggest things that we do, and we'll be doing at our next meeting, is there's some money set aside for some mini grants through the schools. Each of the schools can apply for some of the mini grants for some of the different programs that they're trying to run. And next Monday, we'll be going through I think we have 12 or 13 applicants for the mini grant. We'll be looking through that. We sit down and as an advisory council, we kind of rate on a scale of 1 to 12 or 1 to 13, which ones we think should be funded the most, which might not get money, or some get a partial portion of the money. So if you're looking to get a little more involved in the community and want to do some stuff, I'd encourage you to try to get on the board if you can. Basically, myself, I've worked with Renee before. I worked in Park and Recreation for the city of Blaine. I have a wife who's a licensed daycare here in the city of Forest Lake, who's taken part in Dan Schwabe's CPR and first aid classes. I have 2 daughters. I have a 11-year-old and a 9-year-old who have taken swimming lessons, who have played sports in Stephanie's program. I've coached in the program, played adult volleyball. It's a great program. Community Ed is, like Julie has said, something from age of birth all the way up to senior citizens. And I want to commend the school board for their support of everything, and Julie and all of her coordinators for doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
I'm not going to ask for a raise of hands, but just think in your own brain, if you showed up here and someone said, would you like to speak to everyone tonight? How many of you would go, I'll do that? I'd be happy to do that. So thank you very, very much for your words there. Next, I'm going to call on one of our coaches, our volunteer coaches. Dwayne, if you would come up, and I know you had a couple things you wanted to share. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Julie, I have to apologize. Julie called me about a week ago, and it was a Tuesday evening. I think it was exactly a week ago, and I was sitting in my ground blind behind our house deer hunting, and I get this phone call. The number comes up on my phone, and it's about, I don't know what time, 5:30, I think you left it, and I'm like, who is this calling? And, the message goes on to, it leaves a message, so I'm listening to the message, and right when the message comes on, a deer walks up. As I'm listening to the message, I accidentally put my phone down and I erased the message of Julie left, so I never did call you back, but I got in contact with Stephanie, and here I am today. In the message, I did get the deer, by the way. Julie, I am going again Friday night, so if you want to call and... Good luck, yeah. In that message, Julie said, thanks for volunteering, coaching, and, we have this 40-year anniversary, and would you mind getting in front of everybody and saying a little bit of what community education means to me and my family. We moved up into Forest Lake, it's be 7 years ago, coming up in December. And we were excited to get the brochure in the mail. And I think the first thing, what really opened my eyes to the community ed situation was, we were looking through the thing and my son pointed out fencing, that he wanted to sign up for fencing. And I shook my head, and my wife was fencing. We had nothing, we knew nothing about fencing. We've seen it in the Olympics, and that was it. And so we went, and it turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life, because growing up, it was football and baseball and basketball and all those sports, and it gave us something else to do besides those sports, and fencing was, it was a great experience, and we still talk about it to this day, doing the fencing thing. So it got us kind of out of our comfort zone a little bit, and that was our first eye-opening experience with community ed, moving to the Forest Lake area. And since then, with my oldest son playing all the sports that we mentioned, I keep getting this call, would you mind coaching this? 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 And I say yes, and we do it. I do it. I love teaching the kids, and it's fun to see the kids grow from the very first practice to the end of the year, and that's why I'm sure all the coaches volunteer coaching in their time. I have one thing. This was a letter I got, and this pretty much sums up, I think, the community ed program at Forest Lake. I got this thank you letter from a parent for football season this year, and I went back and I got a couple of cards like this, but this one said it all, and it stresses what community ed is about. And she says on here, as a parent, I want to thank you and community education for stressing accountability, integrity, and the importance for taking ownership in all your actions. So that pretty much sums up community ed, I think, for at least the youth sports activity people. So thank you.
Dwayne, like to tell you that I received a call similar to the calls that you had when I was a teacher at Forest View. My children went to school here and graduated from Forest Lake, and this is kind of how it goes. And Tim Conley was our athletic person for a long time, did a great job. And this is what the conversation is. Okay, well, we're calling back again, and we've gone through the whole list, and nobody has stepped up to participate. So unless someone does on this round of calling, I'm afraid we won't be able to have a team for your child. And and so some of you maybe are like this. Okay, I told my husband, don't let me put my hand up in the air. And it was funny because it was basketball, and I understand the game. I watched it, but I was not a basketball player, even though I am 5'10". I was a swimmer. So anyway, you don't have to know that much about it. We have tapes that'll help you, whatever. And so I dutifully watched those tapes and tried to get the plays, And we only won a couple games in the season, but what I always held up to them, and I still talk about it, is we were the Good Sportsmanship Award winners for the league. So it's not always about winning. As their little faces, we got a nice little medal, and I said, that's way more important than being the best team. And I'm not sure I convinced them, but I do think it's nice to hear someone expressing that about integrity and whatnot, because we really do want our experiences to be great for our kids and for our communities. So. Thank you. The next thing that I want to read, Senator Al Franken sent this to me, and I just want to share it with you. It's a letter from him that's dated today, and it says, Dear friends, I want to personally congratulate Forest Lake Area Schools Community Education Department for 40 years of excellence. Since 1973, Forest Lake Community Education has worked hard to provide quality educational programs, all while building a supportive and engaged community in Forest Lake and beyond. You should be quite proud of the strong community resource you have developed in Forest Lake, which offers lifelong learning opportunities for everyone. It is clear that by the way your programs continue to grow and by the longevity and expertise of your excellent staff, you have developed a strong educational foundation that will continue to thrive for years to come. Thank you for being a leader in your field and for providing excellent educational and developmental programs to the residents of our great state. Keep up the great work. Sincerely, Al Franken, United States Senator. So that was really fun. If you live here in the community and you get the Forest Lake Times, and by the way, I would really like to just mention our LATV has been so supportive, and the local newspapers, the Times and the Lowdown, they really help us in community to get the word out. But if you get the Forest Lake Times and you saw a picture of Al Franken, who was here for Manufacturing Day, which in our school district was a great opportunity for the chamber to partner with the schools and the city again and bring people in to learn more about the wonderful classes and things that our students have opportunities for. I'm in that picture with Al Franken, but I'm not exactly standing right with Al Franken. It's sort of a picture of Al Franken looking at some drawings, and I'm just kind of like in the background, but I have this bright orange jacket on, and so it's really easy to spot me. I went to get gas the other day, and the young man who works at the gas station who recognizes me but doesn't know me, I go there a lot, he goes, I saw you, you were in the paper with Al Franken. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to hold on to that. No more needs to be said. So anyway, here we go. The next on our agenda is Leanne Brockman and Sarah Chatwin. Leanne and Sarah were very gracious and said that they would be happy to come up and spend a couple minutes talking about the experiences that their families had as well. So Leanne, I think I'll hand this to you.
I brought my own hand, so I'm a tech assistant here to help me with a couple photos. I could come at this from multiple perspectives. I've taught community ed classes, I've participated as students in community ed classes, but I think any one of you that has had children knows that probably the most meaningful thing for you is when you have a child who is touched by someone in the community. And this right here is a picture of my daughter around the time that she had tubes put in her ears. And we have always been a kind of a swimming family, but when those tubes went in, suddenly swimming was very uncomfortable. She had a lot of discomfort, and I really thought, I watched her growing away from it, and I thought, she's not going to be a swimmer. She's not going to like swimming. It's going to be something that she's going to fear. Now, you'll notice the young man that's behind those kids, my daughter's aired out there, that's Ryan. That's Sue Griffin's son. And he is a flirt, a mega flirt. He totally had her in the palm of his hands, as did all of the kids that continued to work with her as she continued to go through the Red Cross training levels. She loved it. You can see it by the glow in her eyes. They captured her. And aquatics was just one of the many kind of community education experiences that she has had. And I just wanted to show you the difference that it makes. You know, the difference that it makes when somebody cares and reaches and touches. Here's a picture of her as a captain of the swim team. They have just won the section title for Forest Lake, and there's a picture of her swimming down there. And just last weekend, we were up at University of Minnesota Morris. She is never going to be the Olympic gold medalist. She loves swimming, and it has made her stronger, and it has made her much more confident and able. And it wasn't just her that they touched. That's my boy. Same story over again. So this is just one snippet of what Community Ed does. It reaches into the lives of our families here in Forest Lake, and it really makes a difference.
Well, I'm Sarah Chatwin, and my kids also swim, and Rachel swims with, or did swim with Risa before she graduated, and my son Ben swims with Tommy on the varsity team. So swimming is kind of where my kids have ended up as far as activities go, but I guess I want to go back a little bit in time and say that I moved here from Canada in 1998, not knowing a soul. My husband and I moved down. He works as a physician at Fairview, and didn't know anybody. And we built a house, and someone mentioned ECFE, and I was like, what's that? And my very first class with my youngest daughter, it opened up a world for me. It opened up lifelong friendships, great friendships for my kids that remain today. It taught me what I think are fabulous parenting skills that I still use on my 7-year-old, and I have 4 children. I went to ECFE for 10 years, and the teachers, I still see them in the community, and they're just the best staff and the best group there that you could ever imagine. It sort of created friendships for my family and got me interested in volunteering in the community through the ECFE Parent Advisory Council, then PTO and other groups in the community. I guess after ECFE, my kids have done so many activities through community education, from basketball to baseball, soccer, taekwondo, fencing, drawing classes, clay classes, painting, Lego, robotics. I have babysitting courses, now driver's education, youth advisory board, CPR. I mean, the wheels have fallen off the van as I drive, circle through Forest Lake for all these community education classes. So I want to thank community education for all the wonderful experiences over the years. Really, they've made my kids thrive and my family thrive. Now my kids really have learned more about themselves through community education, kind of narrowed their focus a little bit and decided that, swimming is their passion. So they're all competitive swimmers now. My daughter's done the lifeguard certification and the instructor aid, and they've done all the levels of swimming and now are in varsity sports and swimming. So it taught them about themselves and let them explore all these different options that were available to them in this community, which I thought was fabulous. Besides just the physical fitness, it's the increased performance in school because they've had that physical fitness and that activity. It increased their confidence over the years. It helped them figure out, like I said, their interests and their passions. It gave them structure. That's something as a parent that's so important. To give your kids that structure, this night I have swimming lessons. I'm going to swimming lessons, so then I need to get my homework done before swimming lessons. So it just kind of creates that structure and that activity and keeps them busy. And then it helped with their organization skills, and again, it's just been such a wonderful experience, and I can't thank the organization enough and the school district for having such a wonderful program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to both of you for sharing that. And I hope all of you who are community ed members, staff members, wearing your polo shirts, yes or no, tonight. I hope you're really listening because these accolades are for all the great work that you do. So we're at the point where I just want to make sure that I thank people, and again, I am so worried about forgetting someone. I hope I don't do that. And then we're saving the best for last. I told the kids I would do that, but I was an elementary teacher for a long time at Forest View before working in community ed, and we've been working on a special song they're going to help me with for community ed. But before we do that, I'm going to ask people, when I say something that pertains to you, would you please stand? And some of you will be up and down like a jack in the box because you've done a lot of things in community ed. But I just would like to really mention and stress how important you've all been. So we're going to start with Dr. Madsen. Again, thank you, our superintendent. Thank you very much for all of your support. I'm so pleased we have a number of our community ed, sorry, I'm going to back up. I'm getting ahead of my list here. We have a number of our school board members here. The school board works so tirelessly to do such great work for our community and for our schools. So would you please stand up if you're on our school board? Kathy, I know you're going to get to stand up again. We were lucky to have Kathy on our staff for a long time as well. So we'll go on with our list here. The Community Education Advisory Council, Jerome talked to you a little bit about that, but with those members and also the Parent Advisory Council from Early Childhood, would you stand if you're here tonight? I'm going to single out right now because otherwise I will forget, but and my family will attest to this. I do a mighty fine tree pose from yoga. And when I first started yoga, I could not do that tree pose, but I owe everything I know about yoga and all of my strength and balance to Julia, our instructor for yoga. Julia, please stand up. She makes it fun. At home, I try to practice. My son, Jonathan, says, come on, Mom, let's do some jumping jacks. You do your yoga. And I can get going, but when the going gets rough, I stop. But when I'm with Julia, she keeps me going. So that's awesome. Okay, then I would like to introduce, first of all, our operations team. Our operations team is the group, a small group of full-time community ed employees who represent all of the different programs that funnel down from that. And we meet every month and we strategize, and I laugh and say, well, it's your day, because I end up calling one of them maybe 4 or 5 times, so it just happens that way. But they help us problem solve. I couldn't do anything without them. So operations team, OT people, stand up, please. Some of you are already standing. Sue in the back there, and Amy. I know that Nancy's here, but I don't know where she was. Lori Drolson, our ABE and GED programs, the GED test, which is given to people if they have gone through and they're taking tests to get there to finish their schooling, if they didn't finish high school for whatever reason while they were that age. But they're changing the law in Minnesota as well as the whole United States of how people can pass that test. It's going to an online test. Right now we're finishing for the next 6 weeks until the end of this year, until the end of December. It's a paper and pencil test, and we have people feverishly trying to finish that, because if they don't get done with all of the tests, they have to start over again with the online system. And Lori, they're so swamped that she just didn't think she could come here, and she's so dedicated that she really is an integral part as well, so we thank her. Kate, where are you? I know she was here, maybe she had to leave.
Italy.
Okay, from our early childhood program. Okay, then I would like to ask all of the rest of the community ed staff, anyone who works for us in community education, please stand up. And they're all so bashful. Come on. I see. I didn't say keep standing, so you're good listeners. Yeah, they still said that. Okay. And then I also would like to just point out everyone who is a family member of a community ed staff member, would you please stand up? Community education is not an 8 to 4, see there, everyone's bashful. They're here. Community education is not a job where you come to work at 8 o'clock and you go home at 4 and then the rest of your life takes place. Community ed is whenever people want to be doing things, that's when we work. And our schedules are often crazy and our families are supportive, and we're so grateful for that. I want to just personally thank my husband and my son, so.
Thank you. Good job, Julie.
Okay, everyone who's ever participated in community ed, please stand up.
Oh, I think I have.
All right, give yourself a pat on the back.
Yay, for community ed.
I also wanted to point out that we have a number of retired and former staff members who came to celebrate with us tonight, so would they please stand up? Retired or former members. Thank you, thank you. And I mentioned this already, but we do have a couple people that we work with very closely from the city here, so would you please stand up? Renee, and is Aaron still here? Oh, he's still here. There he is. Hi,
All
Renee. And the only group I believe that I haven't talked about yet was our volunteers. And I know, Bob, I'm going to point you out. Bob Sorman has had so many awards, and we're so grateful. And we have, how many volunteers, Kara, at the ABE program?
Usually 20 active.
20 active volunteers. And I've said to Kara more than one time, when I retire, that's where I'm going to be. If you're looking for a meaningful, something to do with your time, lots of things in community ed are so important. Personally, as a person who was a teacher for many years, the ABE program and the volunteers that are there and the things that they do, and Kara who leads that program, it's just fabulous. So, Bob, how many hours have you logged for us? I lose track because it just keeps going
I
up.
don't keep track. Close to 5,000.
Close to 5,000 hours. Our ABE program, as you can imagine, is open many hours during the week, and Bob is almost always there. Of course, Kara is as well, and where's Kathy? Kathy, I shouldn't leave you out there either.
Yeah.
And Jean, yes, where is Jean? Jean was our former ABE coordinator. There she is.
All
Thank
right.
you, Jean. So, without further ado, I have saved the best till last. I would like to ask my Scandia sax singers, and Tanya Real. Tanya is the site manager, and she has been so wonderful about helping. Please come up, kids, and we're going to share your song. People who have taught, and I am so sorry to see. Thank you. Anyone else, if I forgot, please tell me. People who have taught for community education through a special class or such activity, please stand up. And thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Very, see, my staff saves me from things. Okay, well, here they are. You know what? With the lights on here, I think we need to get the lights off, otherwise you guys are looking at it.
Cover the projector.
And you know, we have a couple families who came here. You're kind of behind, so feel free to come around because you want to see them. I know. Okay, this will conclude our program, so when we're done, thank you very, very much for coming, and have some more to eat. As I said, these children attend our school age care program out at Scandia Elementary School, and I'd like them to introduce themselves so you know who they are. We kind of practiced. I said, I have a teaching voice, so you know this isn't really a stretch for me to talk like this, but I told them to shout. So if they do, that's exactly what I told them to do. So we'll start on this end.
Hi, I'm Will Caldwell. Hi, I'm Julia Hyatt. I'm Julia. Hi, I'm Ella Nicole. Hi, I'm Rebecca Nicole. I'm Maddie. Hi, I'm Josh Emerson. Community Ed Lab, it's lifelong learning. We're serving needs and connecting people. Part of our school district for 40 years now. Engaging people, enriching lives. Community Ed Lab, so many programs, and thousands of people who take classes each year. It's a vital part of our whole community, engaging people, enriching lives. about our team members, they're so amazing. You'll see them in their maroon and gold polos. They work so hard and they help so many, engaging people, enriching lives. Thank you for coming for our celebration, and thanks for all the things you've done to support and help us to serve our community. We're engaging people and enriching lives. Good morning!
And that shall we say concludes our program. Thank you.
Good job, man.